In Beirut. At 10:30 the next morning, Salahuddin arrived at Beirut Airport. The airport lies to the south of the city, and the docks are in the north. One road from the airport to the docks goes through the center of the city. Another road goes beside the sea. Salahuddin got into a taxi. He told the driver to take the road beside the sea. The sun was shining on the city, and there was a mist on the hills behind. The air was fresh and cool. Salahuddin felt very happy in Beirut. It was nice and cool after the heat and dust of Cairo. When he got to the docks, he asked about the boat from Alexandria. The Sudan did not arrive at Beirut until 6:30 in the evening. Salahuddin had more than 6 hours to wait. He decided to visit a friend called Fuad. Fuad had been a student with Salahuddin at Cairo University. He now worked in the Lebanese Department of Antiquities in Beirut. His office was in a large museum in the northeast part of the city. Salahuddin took a taxi to the museum. Fuad was surprised and pleased to see him. "We'll have lunch together," said Fuad. "I'll phone my wife immediately." 10 minutes later, they were in Fuad's car. Fuad lived in a small village in the mountains above Beirut. The road was very steep. It twisted and turned up the mountain. "This road is dangerous," said Salahuddin. "You're right," replied Fuad, "and it's more dangerous higher up. People are often killed up there." But it was also very beautiful. It was spring, and the trees and the flowers were fresh and green. Some people were already selling fruit beside the road. They had large baskets of strawberries. The car soon arrived at Fuad's house. Fuad's wife, Layla, was waiting for them. "Hello, Salahuddin," said Layla. "It's nice to see you again. We've a lot to talk about. But first we'll have lunch." After lunch, they sat out on the veranda and drank coffee. They talked about Cairo and their friends there. From the veranda, they looked down towards the tall buildings of Beirut. Behind the buildings were the docks and the sea. "Now," said Fuad, "why are you in Beirut?" Salahuddin told Fuad about the death of Pearson. He told him also about the man with fair hair. "I want to be at the docks at 6 o'clock," said Salahuddin. "I'm going to meet the Sudan. It arrives at 6:30. "I'll take you there in my car," said Fuad. They sat on the veranda and talked together. The time passed quickly, and soon they had to leave for the docks. "Bring Salahuddin back here," Layla said to Fuad. "Our house is more comfortable than a hotel. He must stay here tonight." Salahuddin thanked Layla and stood up. "It's getting cold," he said. "Yes," replied Fuad. "You're wearing summer clothes. This is not Cairo. It's cold here in the mountains. It's cold sometimes even in summer. I'll get you a warm coat. You'll need it later." At 5 o'clock, Salahuddin and Fuad left the house. They said goodbye to Layla and drove down the steep road towards Beirut. Chapter 7. The Road to Baalbek. At 6 o'clock, Salahuddin and Fuad arrived at the docks in Beirut. They sat in the car and waited for the arrival of the Sudan. There was another car on the docks. "Do you see that black car over there?" asked Fuad. "The one with 2 men in the front?" "Yes," said Fuad. "And there's a fat man sitting in the back seat. I know him. He's interested in antiquities. He often comes to the museum." The Sudan soon appeared at the entrance to the docks. It reached the dockside just after 6:30, and the passengers came down the gangway. "There he is," said Salahadin. "The man on the gangway. He's tall. He has fair hair and broad shoulders. That's the man." "But I know him," said Fuad. "He's a Swede and his name is Barkman. He's interested in antiquities, too. I've often seen him in the museum." "Where's the box?" asked Salahadin. "He's not carrying a box." "Let's wait and see," said Fuad. "Perhaps he's given the box to a porter." "Look," said Salahadin. "The black car is moving." The black car moved a few meters and stopped again behind a shed. Fuad and Salahadin sat and waited. Barkman got off the boat and got into a taxi, but he was not carrying a heavy box. The taxi started to move away. "Let's follow him," said Fuad. "Wait a moment," said Salahadin. "Watch the black car." Salahadin was right. The black car pulled out slowly and followed Barkman's taxi. "We can go now," said Salahadin. "We'll follow the black car. There's something strange here." The 3 cars drove out of the docks, one after the other. The taxi went quickly through the streets of Beirut. Then it started to climb the steep road towards the mountains. The black car followed the taxi. Fuad followed the black car. "Isn't this the road to your village?" asked Salahadin. "Yes," replied Fuad. "This road goes higher up the mountains. It goes to a small town called Baalbek." "I've heard of Baalbek," said Salahadin. "There are some famous ruins there." "And there's a gang of smugglers, too," said Fuad. "They smuggle antiquities out of Beirut." The 3 cars drove up the steep road. They went past Fuad's village. Fuad drove on in silence. The road became narrower and steeper, and Fuad did not drive too close to the black car. "The road's more dangerous here," said Fuad. "There was an accident a few weeks ago. 4 people were killed." For a few moments, nothing happened. Then the black car began to go faster. It had moved into the middle of the road and was trying to pass Barkman's taxi. The 2 cars were now side by side. They were almost touching each other. There was a sharp bend in the road in front of them. "They'll never get round that bend," shouted Fuad. But it was already too late. There was a loud crashing noise. Fuad slowed down and drove carefully round the bend. The black car and the taxi had disappeared. In front of them, the road was empty. Everything was silent. Chapter 8: Barkman's Story. Fuad and Salahadin got out of the car and walked to the edge of the road. It was now getting dark and cold. The 2 cars lay below them. The black car had fallen about 200 meters to the bottom. It was on fire. The taxi had not fallen so far. It was lying against a tree. "Come on," said Salahadin. "Let's climb down quickly. Perhaps Borkman's still alive." Fuad climbed down the steep path and Salahadin followed him. They found the taxi. The driver was inside, but he was dead. One of the doors was open and Borkman had fallen out onto some bushes. He was not dead, but he was badly injured. Fuad bent down and lifted the dying man. He laid him on a flat piece of ground. After a few moments, Borkman opened his eyes and looked up. He tried to speak, but he did not speak very clearly. "The men in the black car," he said. Where are they? What happened to them? They're dead, replied Salahaddin quietly. But who are you? Asked Borkman. We were passing on the road, replied Fuad. We saw the accident. There was silence for a few moments. Borkman closed his eyes and lay still on the ground. Then he slowly opened his eyes again. Will you help me? He asked. Yes, replied Fuad. What do you want? Go to Baalbek, said Borkman. Go to Yusuf's cafe. Ask for Yusuf. Tell Yusuf. Borkman was silent again. What do I tell Yusuf? Asked Fuad. Tell him that Pearson's dead, said Borkman, and the black cat's safe. Where is the black cat? Asked Salahaddin. Tell Yusuf that the black cat's safe, said Borkman again. But where is it? Asked Salahaddin again. Peterson has the black cat, said Borkman after a few moments. I gave it to him at Alexandria. He took it with him on the boat. Which boat? Asked Salahaddin. The boat to Athens, replied Borkman. Peterson took the black cat on the boat to Athens. Who was following you then? Asked Fuad. The Red Hand Gang. Chapter 9. Beirut to Athens. Fuad phoned the airport. Layla brought in some coffee and they sat down. Salahaddin told her about Borkman's death. He spoke about the black cat. But what is the black cat? Asked Layla. Salahaddin told her about the pharaoh Ankheten and about the tomb in the Valley of Zar. I know now that Pearson found the tomb, said Salahaddin. He found the cat in the tomb and brought it to Cairo. Pearson told Borkman about the cat, but Borkman was a member of the Baalbek gang. Pearson didn't know that. Borkman murdered Pearson and took the cat. And where is the cat now? Asked Layla. Borkman had a plan, replied Salahaddin. He was not taking the cat to Beirut. He gave the cat to another man on the docks at Alexandria. This other man is called Peterson. Peterson has taken the black cat with him to Athens. While Salahaddin was talking, he was making some notes in his book. This is what he wrote. Pearson found black cat, took it to Cairo, told Borkman. Pearson murdered by Borkman. Borkman took black cat to Alexandria, gave it to Peterson, came to Beirut, killed en road to Baalbek. The Red Hang Gang heard about black cat, tried to stop Borkman, killed en road to Baalbek. Yusuf in cafe at Baalbek. Leader of Baalbek. Gang, Peterson has black cat, is on a boat going to Athens. Boat is called the Syria. Fuad came back from the telephone. There's a plane in 4 hours' time, he said. It leaves Beirut at 1 o'clock in the morning and arrives in Athens at 5. How long does the boat take from Alexandria to Athens? Asked Salahaddin. Almost 2 days, replied Layla. I once went by boat on a holiday to Athens. The Syria left Alexandria on Monday evening, said Salahaddin. It's Tuesday today. It won't arrive in Athens until tomorrow. I'll be in Athens before the boat. We must leave soon, said Fuad. It's a long way to the airport. Salahaddin said goodbye to Layla and drove off with Fuad. They arrived at the airport just after midnight. It was already Wednesday. But Salahaddin was only a few hours away from Athens by air. Salahaddin thanked Fuad. Take care, said Fuad. 6 people have already died because of this black cat. Send us a telegram from Athens. I'll send you a telegram from Athens tomorrow, said Salahuddin. Then he smiled. I mean today. It's Wednesday already. You go to the police in the morning, tell them about Yusef's cafe. Salahuddin said goodbye to Fuad and went to catch the plane for Athens.